Things get heated fast as Maxine Waters clashes with Scott Bessent over tariffs, inflation, and the economy, and the tension explodes in a dramatic exchange you have to see.
Now recognize the ranking member of our committee, Mrs. Waters of California, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you very much. Secretary Bessent, in the FSOP annual report, you stressed the importance of economic growth to promote financial stability. While you noted many ways you plan to deregulate Wall Street and plant the seeds for another crisis, you said little about the harms of inflation. I find this odd as the president and you have finally began discussing in the media how the price of goods are way too high. Notably, you mentioned that tariffs may need to come down to lower costs for Americans. So I have a few questions about this. As a former hedge fund manager in 2004, and I don't want you to go into any long details about this, but did you write a letter to investors raising concerns about the impact of tariffs, writing that, quote, tariffs are inflationary? Did you say that at that time, yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a New York Times article that, agrees that you said that.
New York Times.
Then last summer, when you testified before a Senate committee, you said, and I quote, "There is no inflation. Tariffs are not being passed on to consumers." You were quite definitive and even claimed that critics had, quote, "tariff derangement syndrome." Well, those comments are at odds with the statement you made to investors that tariffs are inflationary. Again, I want to be clear, so just let me ask you, are tariffs inflationary, yes or no?
According to the San Francisco Federal Reserve, with 150 years of data,
yes or no?
Tariffs do not cause inflation. San Francisco Federal
Well, last
Reserve,
November, as the Trump administration finally began to realize that affordability issues in America are not a hoax, you told Fox News that the government was going to reduce tariffs on goods like coffee and bananas, and that doing so would, quote, bring the prices down very quickly. Mr. Secretary, why was that announcement even necessary? If tariffs aren't inflationary, and as you and the president like to say, are paid for by the foreign country, a tariff on coffee or bananas shouldn't raise the price of either for American consumers. Well, that's the Trump logic, but that isn't reality. It did raise prices across the board, and you know it. I think you knew back in July also. The real question is, why would you even impose a tariff on a good that a country doesn't grow or make, as that would only serve to punish the American consumer? Now, as you know, this committee has taken a bipartisan approach to addressing another real affordability crisis. Housing. Rents are too high. There aren't enough houses. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has grown worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in half.
Lumber is
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a 5-year low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my time.
Let's just have the facts.
Reclaiming my time. Thank you. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has gone worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as I said, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in 500,000 fewer homes built at a time when we need more homes built, not less. Trump single-handedly made housing more expensive. And once again, you know it, as Axios has reported that you were planning to lift tariffs on housing production goods. In addition, the unlawful campaign the Trump administration has waged with ICE and Border Patrol, terrorizing American communities, has also harmed home construction across America. So I ask you, Secretary Bessent, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing affordability and putting the economy at risk? Yes or no? You don't have to explain.
Representative Waters,
will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice of reason? Will you be the voice of reason?
A study
yes
from
no?
Wharton University
reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Was the mass unfettered immigration.
Mr. Chair, will you let him know that when I ask
the time does belong to the gentlewoman from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
can you
took
shut
up the housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
The gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the gentleman
took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Well,
Mr. Chair, parliamentary
inquiry. The chair recognizes the vice chairman of the committee.
Mr. Chair,
if you want to
parliamentary inquiry.
Go right ahead, but I would not expect you to do that.
The exchange between Maxine Waters Waters and Scott Bessent highlights how quickly economic policy debates can turn confrontational in a congressional setting. What begins as a line of questioning about tariffs and inflation escalates into a tense back and forth, reflecting not just disagreement over facts, but fundamentally different interpretations of how the economy works and who bears the cost of policy decisions. At the center of the clash is the question of tariffs and their impact on inflation. Waters presses the argument that tariffs increase costs for American consumers, citing apparent inconsistencies in past statements. Bessent, meanwhile, leans on broader economic studies to argue that tariffs are not a primary driver of inflation. This disagreement mirrors a larger debate among economists where the effects of tariffs can vary depending on context, timing, and how businesses pass costs along. Supply chain. The discussion then shifts to housing, where tariffs on materials like lumber and steel are framed as contributing to rising construction costs and reduced housing supply. Waters uses this point to connect trade policy directly to everyday affordability issues, arguing that such measures worsen an already strained housing market. Bessent attempts to counter with selective data, but the rapid pace and interruptions make it difficult to fully unpack the competing claims, leaving viewers with more heat than clarity. Another layer of tension emerges around procedure and control of time. Waters repeatedly asserts, "reclaiming my time," a common but often contentious practice in hearings, while interruptions from Bessent and others add to the sense of disorder. The chair's intervention to enforce time limits underscores how structured these exchanges are supposed to be, even as they frequently veer into chaos. Ultimately, this moment illustrates how congressional hearings serve as both oversight and political theater. While important policy questions are raised about inflation, trade, and housing, the format encourages sharp, simplified arguments rather than nuanced discussion. For the public, the challenge is separating the substantive issues from the confrontational style, and understanding that behind the clash lies a complex debate with real economic